Okay, here we have our cake. We are going to represent addition of fractions with unlike denominators. So here I have my whole cake. I am going to give half of my cake to my husband. I am going to give 1/6 of the cake to my daughter and 1/6 of the cake for myself. This one is going to be for later. How much of the cake do we use? If we count the pieces, we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of cake. But how do we represent these mathematically talking? So in here, I'm going to represent this, and I have the 6 pieces of cake, but I give half of the cake to Alejandro, 1/6 of the cake to Mariana, and 1/6 of the cake to Nubia. So we are going to have, this is what is going to be left, and this is what we are going to use. We represent this in the addition. 1/2 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. Wow, here these two fractions have the same denominator, so that is easy. I can do 1 plus 1, 2, and the 6 stays the same. But here I cannot add because they have different denominator. I can convert these half into 6s, because if I have 6 little pieces, I cannot make a half piece. So I multiply 2 times 3 in order to obtain 6. So 1/2 times 3, 1 times 3, 3, 2 times 3, 6. So I represent again the addition. 3 6s plus 2 6s equals 5 6s. And let's see here. So here we have the ones from before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6s. Exactly the one that we have there. So let's remember the steps for adding fractions and like fractions, or fractions with a different denominator. First, find an equivalent fraction. Find equivalent fractions that give me the same denominator. Second, once I convert the fractions within the same denominator, I can simply add numerators and the denominator stays the same. Let me give you another example. Okay, we are going to do another addition with unlike denominators. So let's say that I have 2/5 of a cake, and I am going to add 3/8 of a cake. 5 and 8 are different denominators. So in here, I am going to remember something that we learned before, that is the least common multiple. So let's remember multiples of 5, multiples of 8, and I make the list of multiples. I start multiples of 5, all the answers of the multiplication by 5. So I start 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Wow, I found the least common multiple. That means that I need to multiply 5 times something to obtain 40, and 8 times something to obtain 40, to have equivalent fractions of these ones, but with the same denominator. So 2/5 times 8. 2 times 8, 16. 5 times 8, 40. And now 3/8 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 times 5, 15. 5 times 8, 40. Now I can replace 16/40 is the same as 2/5. 16/40 plus 15/40 equals same denominator. Denominator is the same. 16 plus 15, 31/40, and I find the answer. Okay, let's continue with subtraction. In here we have half of a cake. Half of a cake. And I am going to take away 1/6 of a cake. How much cake is left? That is easy because we have the cake cut in here. 2/6 of a cake. But let's represent this mathematically talking. We have half of the cake. And from this half of the cake, we eat 1/6 of a cake. How much cake is left? So we represent this in a subtraction. 1/2 minus 1/6. First, how do I know that this fraction is greater than this one? Remember, the greater the denominator, the smaller the fraction is. Same numerator, that means that we are talking about one part of the unit. So in here, we have the 2 and the 6, different denominators. Here, let's remember, let's list the multiples of 2, multiples of 6. 2, 4, 6. I found it easy. And I have the 6. So I don't need to convert the 6. It's already a 6. I only need to convert the half. So 1/2 times 3. 2 times 3, 6. 1 times 3, 3. Now I can do 3/6 minus 1/6 equals 2/6. But in math, we always represent the fractions in simplest form. So 2/6, I say I can divide 6 into 2, so 2 divided by 2, 1. 6 divided by 2, 3. Let me show you that here with the cake. 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. So 2/3, 1/3 is exactly the same as 2/6. And we represent the subtraction in the lowest form. So what do I do here? In order to find the denominator, I use multiples. To simplify, I use factors. So in here, this is something that I did. These were the multiples. Now let me find the factors. The factors of 2 and the factors of 6. Easy. 2 only has 1 and 2 as a factor. 1 times 2, 2, 2 times 1, 2. No more factors. 6. 1 times 6, 6. 2 times 3, 6. So 6 has as a factor 1, 2, 3, and 6. But the only common factor is 2. That's why in here I divide by 2. 2 divided by 2, 1. 6 divided by 2, 3, and I give the fraction or the answer of the subtraction in simplest form. Always the answer of a subtraction is given in simplest form. So let's go back. To subtract a fraction with different denominator, first find the common denominator by finding the common multiple. Second, once you convert the fractions into fractions with equivalent with the same number, subtract the numerators and leave the denominator the same. Once you have the answer, present the answer in simplest form by finding the greatest common factor. List all the factors, select the common factor, and divide each one of the numbers by the common factor, and you give the answer of the fraction. It was great to be with you today. Goodbye.